Now, earlier this month, the Department of Justice launched an investigation into whether a major US non-profit engaged in pay-to-play politics, also known as corruption. One of the organization's founders is a former president, and another was Secretary of State. Donors to the foundation included some of the richest and most powerful people and corporations in the world. And in exchange for their donations, they received special access, favors, protection, and lucrative business deals. Tonight, we investigate the swamp that started it all. The Clinton Foundation is tonight's Swamp Watch. The Clinton Foundation has raised roughly $2 billion since its creation in 2001. Over $48 million of that's been from overseas governments. As Secretary of State under President Obama, Hillary Clinton was in a unique position to reward those countries for their generosity. Take Saudi Arabia, for example. They gave between $10 and $25 million to the Clinton Foundation. Seems like a wide range, right? Well, that's all we can tell you because that's all the Clinton Foundation will publicly disclose. As Secretary of State, Clinton had the power to approve or deny arms deals between American companies and foreign nations. So which foreign nation got her approval for a massive $29 billion weapons deal in 2011? Surprise, surprise, Saudi Arabia. Now, some Clinton defenders, and there are still some, not many, but they're out there, might say that's just a coincidence. After all, there's nothing that unusual about US firms selling weapons to the Saudis. Maybe not, but was this a coincidence too? Boeing, the defense contractor that manufactures the F-15 fighter jet that the Saudis were hoping to acquire in the deal, gave $900,000 to the Clinton Foundation just 2 months before the deal was finalized. Now, why would they do that, do you think? You've got to hand it to the Clintons, managing to get payoffs from both sides of that deal. It's truly world-class corruption that comes with years of practice. In fact, under Hillary Clinton, the State Department approved $165 billion worth of commercial arms sales to 20 nations whose governments gave money to the Clinton Foundation. That was nearly double the value of American arms sales made to those countries and approved by the State Department during the same period of George W. Bush's second term. But it must just be a coincidence. And here's another one. In 2009, Chevron, ConocoPhillips, and a trade association funded by ExxonMobil lobbied Hillary Clinton's State Department for a new oil pipeline from Canada to Wisconsin. Just in case the lobbying wasn't enough, those three companies also donated between $2 and $3 million to the Clinton Foundation. Hillary approved the permit for the pipeline that same year. What a lot of coincidences the Clintons seem to be accumulating. This next one is Bill's. On his last day in office, President Clinton pardoned financier Mark Rich, who fled to Switzerland after being indicted on multiple federal charges, including tax evasion. How merciful. I guess it's just a coincidence that Mark Rich's wife, Denise, made a number of large donations to the Clinton Presidential Foundation, including $250,000 in 1998, $100,000 in 1999, and $100,000 in 2000, the year before her husband was pardoned. To paraphrase Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice, the quality of mercy is not strained, it droppeth, like giant checks into the Clintons' bank account. In 2010, Bill used his Clinton Global Initiative, an arm of the foundation that arranges corporate donations to various causes, to steer $2 million towards a company called Energy Pioneer Solutions, which was partially owned by his close friend, Julie Tauber McMahon. He also personally endorsed her company to the Secretary of Energy, earning it an $800,000 grant by the Department of Energy. In January 2014, the Fragrance Foundation, a trade group for the perfume industry, paid Bill Clinton $260,000 to give a speech that lasted less than an hour. Following the talk, the Clinton Foundation organized and partially funded a lime tree planting effort in Haiti that directly benefited Swiss company Firmenich International, one of the world's largest fragrance and flavoring suppliers. Clinton's $260,000 speaking fee wasn't even a donation to the foundation. It was reported as personal income. In fact, he was paid more than $100 million for speeches between 2001 and 2013. And since leaving the White House, he's made at least $26 million in speaking fees from companies and organizations that also donated to his foundation. Why do the Clintons get to double dip into these donors' pockets? It's simple, really. The more money these donors give to the Clintons, the more favor they find with one of the world's most powerful families. Here's another example. Following the horrific 2010 earthquake in Haiti, the government of Haiti set up a recovery committee chaired by Bill Clinton. Bill's committee asked Irish mobile telephone service provider Digicel to create a system to transfer relief money to Haiti via cell phones. In 6 months, Digicel brought in more than $50 million in revenue in Haiti. Here's the kicker. Digicel was run by Irish billionaire Dennis O'Brien, who set up a number of paid speeches for Bill Clinton and also donated millions of his own money to the Clinton Foundation. Another benefit of giving to the Clintons was special access to meetings with Hillary while she was Secretary of State. An AP investigation found that more than half the people outside the government who met with Hillary in the first half of her tenure gave money to the Clinton Foundation. Their total donation amount? Over $150 million. Even Chelsea Clinton warned of serious concerns over conflicts of interest at the foundation, especially in connection with a secretive lobbying firm, Teneo, set up by Hillary Clinton's former fundraiser and Bill Clinton's right-hand man. Many of Teneo's clients were also Clinton Foundation donors. Emails exposed by WikiLeaks showed Chelsea raising red flags because Teneo officials were using Bill Clinton's name to set up meetings for their lobbying clients like Dow Chemical and Coca-Cola, and hustling for clients at the Clinton Global Initiative. While all this was going on, Hillary's top aide, Huma Abedin, was a paid consultant to this lobbying firm, Teneo, while she was working at the State Department. And we haven't even mentioned the Uranium One deal, another Clinton coincidence, where Frank Giustra, who owned the uranium mining company Eurasia that later merged with Uranium One before it was sold to the Russians, donated over $30 million to the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton business model is the swamp in its most perfect form. Let's end with the words of legendary New York Times columnist Maureen Dowd, who pretty much nailed it. Someday, the Clintons should give their tin cup to the Smithsonian. It's one of the wonders of the world.